Devourer mother insect? Little fairy doctor continuously activated the poison pill within her body, releasing mysterious poisonous mist that covered Xiao Yin and the others. This force was potent enough to completely neutralize the venomous attacks of other powerful beings. However, seeing the strange, massive creature in the sky, its grotesque body stretching nearly 1,000 feet in length, a pale look appeared on little fairy doctor's delicate face. The creature in the pit was grotesquely large, its massive body resembling a giant finger, segmented into 10 parts. Its yellowish form seemed to harbor a terrifying power, and even the yellow insects that had absorbed the pure energies of the Poison God Palace's elite warriors were slowly burrowing into its body. At this moment, this enormous creature seemed to be controlling these bizarre poison insects, attempting to absorb the many poison servants below that had been controlled by the Moon Demon Palace. This is the mother insect. It's where the essence resides. It was also used by the poison god to control the offensive forces. Be careful. There will be many poisonous creatures guarding it. Those insects have already absorbed the source power of these beings. If their bodies and souls are consumed, their strength will be turned into its purest nourishment, and they will be completely annihilated. Little fairy doctor said cautiously. Though the overwhelming energy could make even triple or quadruple reincarnation stage experts tremble, the eerie fluctuations in the void suggested that something even more terrifying was lurking. This thing, it probably wants to absorb the strength of the Poison God Palace's people below to create a furnace to help itself break through to the 5th stage. After being demonized, Xiao Yan's power surged rapidly, reaching the brink of the quadruple reincarnation stage. He could now roughly discern the strength of figures like the Moon Demon Palace Master. There were 2 beings at the quadruple reincarnation stage, and as for the Moon Demon Palace Master, her power far surpassed that of a typical quadruple reincarnation stage expert. She was so powerful that she was nearly at the cusp of the 5th stage. At that level, even with Xiao Yan's demonized strength, dealing with her would be extremely difficult. Boom! As everyone hesitated, the void around the Devourer mother insect began to ripple, and several massive poisonous creatures emerged. Poison-scaled demonic python, evil-winged sky bat, ancient tree of 10,000 venoms. 3 incomprehensible names spilled from the corners of little fairy doctor's lips, and her face immediately darkened. 3 triple reincarnation stage poison creatures? Demonized Xiao Yin frowned. His demonic power surged within him, and countless demonic seeds began to sprout in his body. A quick victory was necessary. With the Elder in charge and the strength of the Moon Demon Palace Master, they were undoubtedly no match for the Moon Demon and Cold Moon. If they were defeated, then Ryup. 3 poisonous creatures charged out, their enormous bodies flailing and baring their fangs as they glared at demonized Xiao Yin. Devourer mother insect. 3 poison beasts. Lung Qingqin and the others exchanged glances, their eyes filled with intense despair. The power at this level had already exceeded their capacity to deal with. It's impossible to win. Give up. After a long silence, Cold Moon Condensation gritted her teeth and, looking at the demonic figure of Xiao Yin in the sky, spoke weakly. As members of the Poison God Palace, no one knew better than they did just how powerful the 3 poison beasts were. They had long known that the Poison God Palace would undergo some unusual mutations, but who could have expected that it would come so soon? And the cause of all this was actually due to the Moon Demon Palace Master's insane actions? She had tried to use the entire strength of the Poison God Palace to pave the way for her own path to becoming the Poison God. As for the Grand Elder Palace, it had probably already been sealed off by her with countless obstacles. Now, the Poison God Palace had become a toxic pit, and sooner or later, it would erupt with a monstrous destructive force. Boom! In the sky above the altar, where 4 of the strongest beings existed, terrifying waves of energy continually erupted, indicating that the battle had reached a white-hot stage. Below, the Devourer mother insect was surrounded by 3 poison beasts, each of them flailing their enormous bodies, emitting thick, pungent poisonous mists as they warily watched demonized Xiao Yin. The power of demons, is something you can't easily rival. Burn! Demonized, Xiao Yan's body erupted in dark green evil flames, and he raised his hand, unleashing a powerful strike. The malevolent flames spread out, covering the entire altar, and without hesitation, he slammed them into the three poison beasts. Roar! The three poison beasts twisted their enormous bodies, sending out three bizarre light pillars in the air to counteract the attack. Boom! When their energies collided, terrifying energy ripples swept outward, causing those disoriented poison servants to retreat, and even the very void of this world began to twist violently. Roar! 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 The massive pupils of the three poison beasts flashed with a faint sense of vigilance. They are poisonous beasts personally cultivated by the poison god. Neither their toxic mist power nor their strength can be compared to an ordinary poisonous beast. At the same time, the Devourer mother insect behind them flickered with countless eye sockets, and a strange black glow suddenly swept through its yellow irises. The black light flickered as it surged towards demon Xiao Yan, and under this force's erosion, Xiao Yan was astonished to find that the almost perfectly concealed sacred flame within him, along with the essence of demon, was slowly being consumed by this power. "Let's end this quickly," Xiao Yan murmured, and the demonic energy in his eyes transformed into countless demon essences, his dark green, eerie pupils flashing as his internal power surged forth like an abyss. When Xiao Yan first grasped the power of the demon, he understood little about it. But now, as his strength grew, his mastery over the demonic power became increasingly adept. Demon Evil Mountain. Waves of dark green energy erupted from Xiao Yan's body, gathering behind him. In an instant, the towering mountains manifesting on Xiao Yan's figure, adorned with his dark green sinister hair and demonic aura, bore an evil power surpassing the great thousand worlds, coming one after another. Roar, roar, roar. At this moment, the power released by Xiao Yan provoked the Devourer mother insect, and its corpulent body slowly opened countless eye sockets. As they opened, a bizarre magical power emerged, causing all the energy within Xun'er and the others to temporarily falter, and a chilling sensation of death spread uncontrollably. The lingering power of the poison god. The little fairy doctor's venomous pill left her delicate body, and her complexion turned pale as she urged the holy venomous pill with a roar, clearly attempting to suppress the terrifying fluctuations within the Devourer mother insect. Trust him. But Xun'er made no move. She simply stood with her hands folded, unleashing sacred flames to protect the remaining four. As for the two filthy venom maidens, Lung Qingchen and her companion, their shock was beyond words at this moment. With the eye sockets opened, the ancient and profound power imprisoned the whole world, then closed, unleashing an even deeper, ancient power of toxic mist that transformed into a magnificent gray-white stone palace, wielding a power as formidable as the poison god, descending upon demon Xiao Yan. Demonic radiance blossom. Xiao Yan smiled faintly at this, and the demonic power within him surged forth, spreading endless demonic light from the mountains behind him, illuminating the entire world. At that moment, within the mountains surrounding the altar square, all life and brilliance vanished. Even the three terrifying poisonous beasts that had appeared to protect the Devourer mother insect trembled under Xiao Yan's intimidating gaze, a fear stemming from their very souls filling their minds. What kind of existence is that? To think it could potentially withstand the three strongest poisonous beasts at the fourfold reincarnation stage single-handedly. The demonic soul mountain gently tilted from behind Xiao Yan, suddenly filling the entire sky with a murky air, as if the entire world were mirrored in its boundless demonic power. Under this demonic might, even the strong at the reincarnation stage felt as insignificant as ants in an instant. Panic, unease, and fear spread from the pupils and the depths of the souls of the controlled poison servants, as if even the controlling power of the demonic Moon Palace Master was severely affected by Xiao Yan's terrifying magical power. Boom! The Devourer mother insect and the three poisonous beasts roared in unison, their powers coalescing into a dazzling scythe of toxic mist. The scythe of toxic mist exceeded 1,000 feet. Even with the soul-shaking corrosive mist surrounding it, it trembled under the reflection of the demonic soul mountain. Roar, roar, roar. The three poisonous beasts, seemingly provoked, erupted in a thunderous roar, their bodies transforming into true blades as they charged forward. Utterly ridiculous. Xiao Yun stood half in the air, keeping his distance from the four battling in the heavens. Yet a cold smirk appeared as he watched the three poisonous beasts' actions not far away. Crack! Xiao Yun moved like a phantom, extending a fist imbued with demonic power. The three poisonous beasts offered no resistance as they collapsed into a pool of blood. The Devourer mother insect was a being of great intelligence and spiritual awareness, but its enormous size made it impossible to move with ease. At that moment, looking at the demon Xiao Yun, whose body was covered in deadly venom and crimson blood, a sense of fear and unease spread throughout. The enormous body of the Devourer mother insect trembled uncontrollably. Boom! Without hesitation, a punch fell with the force of a demon's wrath, and the ancient and sacred poisonous beast was ruthlessly slaughtered by the demon Xiao Yun. Poof! As Xiao Yun battered the Devourer mother insect to the point of near death, two figures suddenly fell from the sky. The Cold Moon Palace Master, and the elder who had been overseeing the situation. They were dead, their souls completely annihilated. Even their bodies had turned pitch black, devoid of any power, as if all vitality and strength had been drained by some unknown force. Poof! In an instant, Mirror Moon Palace Master spat out a mouthful of crimson blood. Her body lost control and rapidly fell toward the ground, her breath weak and fading. Mirror Moon, after all our struggles, I have won. A faint voice echoed from the edge of the heavens. A sinister figure stood in the sky, slowly declaring victory with an air of triumph. Crack! An irresistible, overwhelming wave of force surged forth, and the demon Xiao Yan's body was knocked back. At the same time, the injured Devourer mother insect returned to the side of the Demon Moon Palace Master. Little one, from now on, this world will be ours. Demon Moon's eyes burned with intense fervor, and she lightly inhaled the blood at the corner of her mouth. Instantly, the stagnant power within her body began to stir. Poof! Xun'er and Little Fairy Doctor rescued Xiao Yun and Mirror Moon, one after another. The four of them stood on the altar, their expressions deeply complex. We must sever the connection between Demon Moon and the Devourer mother insect. Otherwise, once they merge, we will have no chance of winning. Demon Xiao Yan's eyes gleamed with an eerie, greenish demon light, the oppressive demonic power chilling to the core. That would indeed be possible, but at this moment, Mirror Moon Palace Master's pale face showed a trace of sarcastic self-blame. Originally, she had planned to use the Poison God election as a diversion, gathering all of Demon Moon's attention, while handing the top-tier Immortal techniques to Xiao Yun. Then, they would go to the Grand Elder Palace to awaken the Grand Elder, and everything would fall into place. But she had underestimated Demon Moon's power and ambition. For the sake of winning the election, Demon Moon had easily surrounded the altar with all her elite subordinates, leaving the Grand Elder Palace nearly undefended. Yet, despite their efforts, they had failed to stop Demon Moon. Even with the Elder in charge and the late-arriving Cold Moon, who fought desperately, their combined strength could not shake Demon Moon's resolve. Mirror Moon Palace Master, this is the scroll you gave me. As for the Grand Elder Palace, I am not too familiar with it, so it seems you'll have to go there yourself. A dark green flame began to scorch within Demon Xiao Yan's chest, his overwhelming demonic power beginning to boil, surging and swirling as though endless energy was pouring out, enough to contend with the heavens themselves. Blood, flesh, soul, and body were all filled with a supreme evil power that could look down upon the world. Yet, even such power, when compared to Demon Moon, who remained unflinching in the heavens, still fell short. Then, you will die. For some reason, hearing these words from Demon Xiao Yun, Mirror Moon Palace Master's heart suddenly throbbed with a fierce and vengeful emotion, as if something within her had been triggered. Once upon a time, she too had been a proud and arrogant daughter of heaven, But, with just the 4 of them, they had no chance against a half-step 5th reincarnation stage powerhouse. It would be nothing more than self-destruction. Is there any other choice? Demon Xiao Yan's gaze locked on Demon Moon, whose mocking smile lingered in the sky. Suddenly, he noticed silver snowflakes drifting around her. Within the snowflakes, there was no deadly venomous mist. Instead, they contained a cold, ice-like power stronger than the most extreme cold in the world. The snowflakes drifted down casually, twisting as countless poisonous servants below, unable to react in time, were instantly frozen. Their remaining vitality and soul energy were slowly sealed away. And then, under her guidance, the power was directed toward the Devourer mother insect's abdomen. This is my other power, Ice. Why bother with so many useless struggles? I've been trapped in the half-step 5th reincarnation stage for countless years. Now, with the forces of the poison god's reincarnation, sacred flame, and so on pouring out, combining with the powers in these ants, breaking through to the 5th reincarnation stage is inevitable. At this point, endless ice sculptures of human shadows continued to be thrown into the Devourer mother insect. Immediately, this Devourer mother, which had already been severely wounded by Demon Xiao Yan, began to revive. The vitality within it surged once again, and as it absorbed the pure energy of the countless shadows, it slowly directed this power towards Yao Yue's body. As soon as her body made contact with this power, her strength boiled over in an instant. A fierce and overwhelming aura emanated from her, surpassing the peak of this world, and the clouds in the sky began to writhe in a strange manner. Terrifying and bizarre thunderclouds began to gather, rolling and brewing, creating a terrifying fluctuation that even Demon Xiao Yan had never experienced before, causing his heart to tremble. The reincarnation tribulation of the 5-fold reincarnation stage was about to come. Boom! The thunderous roar echoed, and apart from layers of ancient clouds forming at the top of this world, the entire void was filled with violent energy. The power of ice and snow spread, instantly replacing the poisonous fog on the altar of the poison god square. Clearly, the Demon Moon Palace Master had never intended to hold back from the beginning. She not only wanted to use the life essence of everyone present to help her break through the 5-fold stage, but she was also trying to use these mysterious ice powers to seize the sacred flame and the holy venomous pill for herself. In her eyes, the Poison God Palace had already been secured as her own. Even the few elders of the Grand Elder Palace had been secretly imprisoned by her. Everything seemed to have been carefully arranged by the heavens for her to be crowned as the Poison God. You few, feel the approach of death. Yao Yue suddenly transformed from an elegant princess into a mad lunatic. In order to guard against Demon Xiao Yan and the little fairy doctor, who carried the reincarnation seal, disrupting her perfect plan, she was now preparing to unleash her most powerful ice attributes, ensuring no future risks. Once she crossed the reincarnation tribulation, or if Demon Xiao Yan and the others perished, she would be the ultimate winner. The reason she was using the strongest power against Xiao Yan and others was because she feared the unknown power within Xiao Yan and the reincarnation seal inside the little fairy doctor. To avoid any future troubles, she would hold nothing back. You are strong, your poison techniques are unrivaled in this world, and the ice attribute hidden within your body contains some ancient fluctuation. You have one. At this moment, even the normally calm Mirror Moon Palace Master felt a surge of weakness inside her. I control everything within the Poison God Palace, and I also command the most powerful top-tier immortal arts in the Poison God realm. Let me sing the ice elegy for you, completely enveloping you all. Suddenly, the crazy sounds emerged as the Devourer mother insect slowly consumed the controlled poison servants, sending the pure energy towards Yao Yue. Meanwhile, waves of radiant ice power began to rise from her skin, like a bright moon. Top-tier, immortal arts. At that moment, the usually composed little fairy doctor suddenly displayed a trace of coldness and fear on her delicate face. Top-tier immortal arts. This was the strongest power below the divine level. Whether it was cultivation methods or battle skills, their power was beyond human comprehension. Even the forbidden arts from the angelic kingdom could only compare to the top-tier immortal arts in the great thousand worlds, but such a level of power was only wielded by a few. Perhaps, in the ghost realm, some powerful beings could barely perform these techniques with the aid of evil soldiers, but how many individuals with such talent existed? The prestige and mysterious power of top-tier immortal arts were undeniable and unassailable. Whether it was sacred flame, reincarnation, or even Xiao Yan's demonic transformation, all these powers would seem as insignificant as sand under the shadow of top-tier immortal arts. All powers would be crushed into dust and obliterated under the might of top-tier immortal arts. You all, what are you doing? Above the sky, more and more ice threads began to gather, the power contained within making everyone tremble. Yet the Mirror Moon Palace Master saw that demon Xiao Yin, Xun'er, and the little fairy doctor exchanged a glance, with no fear in their eyes. The three of them did not respond, but the roaring reincarnation within them was enough to prove their actions. Although I'm not sure if she can successfully cast this top-tier immortal art, if it does descend, the entire Poison God Palace will be destroyed. This person is not only using these powers to break through the five-fold reincarnation stage, but she is also attempting to absorb and devour the reincarnation seal, sacred flame, and other powers within us. She clearly intends to create a new kingdom. This is the Poison God's domain. As the inheritor of the Poison God, I have the right to protect it, even if I am torn apart. The little fairy doctor smiled lightly, and within her gentle expression, the reincarnation seal and the poison pill, along with an ancient small cauldron, began to shake violently. You don't understand how terrifying Yao Yue's power really is. Now, she has control over most of the Poison God Palace's strength, brewing the top-tier immortal art, and aided by the Devourer mother insect. You have no obligation to face an enemy you cannot possibly defeat. Now, you should understand, right? Until the clouds of the reincarnation tribulation above the horizon had fully gathered, the face of the Mirror Moon Palace Master suddenly erupted with endless fury and a roar. At half-step fifth stage, there was still a slim chance of survival, but if the true fifth stage or a top-tier immortal art were to descend, they would have no chance at all. Because the top-tier immortal art scroll she had given Xiao Yin was merely a half-finished product. Within the entire Poison God Palace, the only ones capable of using a top-tier immortal art by their own strength were those from the Grand Elder Palace. Can't win it all? I don't understand. In the eyes of a demon, there is no retreat or escape, only endless slaughter. If she is truly invincible, why control so many forces of the Poison God Palace? Why go to such lengths to use top-tier immortal arts? She seems to be wary of something. If resistance is futile, then it's better to kill her. Behind Demon Xiao Yin, the shadow of the demon began to emerge, while the clan-patterned eye, sacred flame, and other powers inside him converged. Yeah, when did I stop believing in destiny's prophecy? We will win. As soon as the words were spoken, Mirror Moon, with her heavily wounded body and the half-finished top-tier immortal art, took a step forward, piercing the void and heading toward the Grand Elder Palace. Staying here in her injured state would only add to the casualties. Arrogant fool, thinking you can escape under my watch. How laughable. As soon as Mirror Moon vanished, a chilling and murderous aura roared toward the spot where she had just disappeared. Crack. Your opponent is me. Demon Xiao Yin stepped forward, his demonic hand covered in countless demonic bloodlights, crushing the attack with a single blow. And me. And me. Two light, ethereal voices echoed through the world, followed by two ancient, majestic auras. Tear. A delicate jade-like hand rose, slicing through the center of the brow, and the sound of the reincarnation seal being torn apart echoed. Then, two near-illusory ancient figures emerged from her brow, gently hovering behind the two delicate bodies. Though their bodies were illusory, the power within them already surpassed the heavens and earth. Poison God Mysterious Crane, master of the 9 mystical flames. Looking at the two ancient figures, the Ice Emperor, who wielded extreme cold power, was filled with deep wariness. Brother Xiao, it's time to act. Xiao, the rest is up to you. The voices fell silent, and then countless mysterious ripples surged on their bodies, roaring toward Monster Moon. Master of the 9 mystical flames, this is our own family matter. Don't bring about your own destruction. And Poison God Mysterious Crane, I've followed you for many years, dedicating myself to the Poison God Palace, and when you fell, you let the holy venomous pill and the Poison God Cauldron vanish. This time, I will take back everything that belongs to me. I will reshape the entire Poison God Realm's rules. I will become the new Poison God and lead the Poison God Palace to become the true ruler of the entire demon realm. Ha ha ha. Monster Moon let out a low growl, her silver-white hair falling as if an ancient ice palace stood behind her, slowly emerging. The ice palace carried an overwhelming aura capable of destroying the heavens, and its mere presence caused the world to tremble with an intense feeling of distortion. This guy, he really can gather top-tier immortal arts. Demon Xiao's eyes glowed with intensity, clearly shocked by Monster Moon's actions. The words, top-tier immortal arts, held a certain magical power, perhaps the closest to the pinnacle of this world's strength. Xiao's power surged, and he immediately locked the surrounding void with his demonic bloodlight-covered hands, grabbing Little Fairy Doctor and Xun'er, preventing them from being overwhelmed by the terrifying ice energy. Brother Xiao. Looking up at the increasingly intense energy above, if this continued, once she absorbed the power of the Devourer mother insect and passed the reincarnation tribulation, their fate would be? Look. Demon Xiao didn't focus on Monster Moon, but raised his finger toward the farthest reaches of the endless void above her. In the void, an even more terrifying energy seemed to be rising. Is this the so-called ice elemental top-tier immortal art? Shock and fear slowly surged from the depths of their hearts. The power of a top-tier immortal art was something they could never hope to resist. At this point, there's no turning back. This world, I leave it to you. I'll go stop this guy. Don't worry, I won't die. Demon Xiao smiled faintly, and the demonic shadow behind him erupted with an unprecedented madness. The battle grew fiercer. The demonic radiance would never fade. Even these demonic forces seemed to transcend time and space, calling upon some of the most powerful beings from the ancient past. Ha ha ha. Demon, sacred flame, reincarnation, it will all be under my control. Ice elemental top-tier immortal art. At last, under the slow passage of time, this supreme immortal art was fully prepared. Although this was a joint effort by Yao Yue and the Devourer mother insect, with the combined power of many, it still fell short compared to a true supreme immortal art. However, it was more than enough to deal with Xiao and his group at present. And with so much power protecting it, Xiao and the others couldn't interfere with Yao Yue's casting. They could only wait helplessly. Howling cold ice, descend. Destroy all living beings in this world. As the mad voice fell, the supreme immortal art descended completely. Even the 5th reincarnation tribulation dimmed slightly. Pure white ice threads fell from the sky, as if a gap had been forcibly carved out of the heavens. The endless cold ice threads, carrying a destructive ice soul power, slanted down from the gap. The ice threads twisted, shattered, and instantly turned into strange ice flowers. These ice flowers were covered in intricate, hard-to-understand ice patterns. Though only the size of a palm, each flower's center seemed to contain thousands of cold ice patterns. The cold penetrated to the bone, and within the flower's core, a glowing point that resembled a heart began to flicker, becoming the only color in this world. As the ice flowers descended, they were filled with a terrifying divine power. Slowly drifting down, they landed on some of the dazed poison servants. In an instant, those poison servants had no time to react. Their bodies trembled violently, and then the pure white cold ice power surged forth, freezing their entire bodies. Their vitality, soul power, and everything else vanished without a trace, as if they had been sculpted into the most perfect piece of art by these forces. Enjoy the ice dimension. Yao Yue finished speaking, waving the Devourer mother insect toward the reincarnation tribulation above. The supreme immortal art had descended. No matter what power these few had, they would all perish. Once frozen, they would be reduced to ice statues, their form and spirit annihilated. Everything was falling into place. This was her victory. The demon Xiao Yan's pupils contracted tightly as an overwhelmingly strong pressure came crashing down. Looking at the countless ice flowers in this snowy world, Xiao Yan suddenly felt all the power within him was bound. That demonic blood deep within his soul, the wicked arrogance in his heart, all fell silent under this cold ice power. It felt as though he had fallen into a frozen cavern of 10,000 years. All the power within him became unusable. This Yao Yue, she's probably a tribulation bearer. A tribulation bearer of the ice element, controlling one of the most powerful and strange ice powers in the world. After a long while, Xun'er's eyes showed a hint of pallor, and she spoke softly. This ice elemental power, capable of interfering and suppressing the powers within their bodies, was unheard of. Perhaps only this explanation made sense. The two of them tore apart the reincarnation seal, summoning the virtual shadows of two mighty beings to protect them. Yet, even with this, in the face of the supreme immortal art before them, they were as insignificant as ants. The ice flowers buzzed, and a crisp hum rang out. The entire void was filled with radiant light, as countless ice beams and ice flowers intercrossed. The sky above even seemed to form a magnificent ice palace tens of thousands of feet tall. This grand ice palace was filled with ancient ice taboos, divine power that no one could resist, touch it, and death would follow. Its surroundings were also filled with an ancient, solemn aura. No matter how strong the poison mists or demonic powers, they were now enveloped, unable to hide. Even souls were kept under its watch. The ice palace trembled slowly, and then, ice chains filled with ancient fluctuations shot toward the demon Xiao Yan, binding him. The demon Xiao Yan did not move, nor could he move. He could only stand in place, letting countless ice chains bind his entire body. The ice chains pierced through his body, his skin becoming rotten, his flesh blurred. Blood droplets fell uncontrollably, and even his vitality was rapidly fading. The flow of power inside him suddenly stopped, as though, under the imprisonment of this ancient taboo ice palace, the demon Xiao Yan could not resist. Death was the only thing awaiting him. Then, those ice flowers, carrying mysterious power, began to spread along the ice chains, roaring toward the demon Xiao Yan. The ice flowers surged, and even the smallest and weakest of them, when they approached Xiao Yan's body, let out a buzzing sound. Immediately, dark green demonic blood began to drip from his body. Once the pure white ice flowers struck, the demon Xiao Yan's body trembled violently, and the demonic blood inside him froze instantly, all of his infinite demonic power being sealed. At this moment, Xiao Yan felt as though he was an unforgivable demon, accepting the punishment of this world. The ice palace mercilessly struck the demon Xiao Yan, and the tragic screams echoed through the sky. Xiao Yan, brother. Xiao Yan. As time passed little by little, finally, at a certain moment, time seemed to freeze. Two urgent voices rang out. Don't worry. I'm not dead yet. I am a demon. I never give up. However, just as the demon Xiao Yan's life force was about to fade away, a terrifying, earth-shaking roar echoed through the heavens, causing even the heavens to tremble in fear. At the same time, Xiao Yan's body was no longer surrounded by the glassy sacred flame, but instead flickered with an ancient, dark green flame. The dark green flame was completely different from the sacred flame, yet the power it contained far surpassed the glassy sacred flame. Welcome, my king. A humble voice rang out softly, as the dark nether soldier emerged from Xiao Yan's palm, bowing humbly at his side. The power of the demon is not to be used in this way. The dark green flame dispersed, and before Xiao Yan, it easily formed an ancient, sinister black shadow. The black shadow spoke in a deep, calm voice, not reprimanding Xiao Yan, but rather guiding him like a benevolent teacher. Though this black shadow appeared weak and fragile, as soon as it appeared, The icy chains that imprisoned Xiao Yin shattered effortlessly. No energy waves stirred within the entire Ice Dimension Palace, allowing Xiao Yin to regain his ability to move, albeit temporarily. Xiao Yin's chest roared like a volcano, but standing next to the Black Shadow, he felt like an incredibly clumsy infant. The power and identity of this being were clearly at the pinnacle of all realms, far beyond anything Xiao Yin could comprehend. Demon. The dark green flames circled the Black Shadow, which ignored Xiao Yin and softly murmured, extending a hand. Dark, ominous power that made the Ice Palace tremble began to spread, and as the hand clenched slightly, the black energy intensified, the gaze fixated on the Grand Ice Palace above them. Boom! With no warning, the dark green figure lightly swung its fist towards the Ice Palace. A profound force was unleashed, followed by a thunderous rumble. The once invincible Ice Palace was forcefully struck, creating a massive black hole several hundred meters wide. Around the black hole, the ice power quickly receded, and faint traces of dark energy began to float ominously. Dark matter? Nether King? Dark King? At that moment, Yao Yue, who had been preparing to cross the five-fold reincarnation tribulation, suddenly focused on the dark green figure below. A wave of fear surged in her heart. This is the first and last time. Hopefully, we will meet again. For the demon inside you, and for the family behind you. With those words, the Black Shadow waved its hand, tearing through the void, disappearing along with the dark nether soldier. That simple action, however, left a profound shock within Xiao Yin, like a seed planted deep within his body. The void returned to silence, the ice soul power howling once more, and the Ice Palace unleashed even more terrifying forces, continuing to assault the demon Xiao Yin. Though Xiao Yin didn't know where that strange black shadow had come from, without its presence, his life would have been extinguished in the blink of an eye. The power of the demon is not to be used this way. Punch towards the heavens? Xiao Yin slowly closed his eyes, focusing on the guidance given by the black shadow. Although he couldn't determine the identity of that figure, Xiao Yin sensed a familiar aura. If that figure wasn't from the Xiao clan, then they must have possessed the demon bloodline. And if he could so easily shatter the Ice Dimension Palace, with Xiao Yan's own demon power and Xiao clan bloodline, he too should be able to do it. That seemingly simple punch surely concealed a hidden secret. Why would a being from the Netherworld appear in our demon realm? Demon? Netherworld? It can't be delayed any longer. The Ice Dimension, be annihilated. A mocking smile appeared on Yao Yue's lips, her ugly expression fully revealed. Despite the fact that the Black Shadow was just an energy projection, the power it contained was so immense that Yao Yue couldn't touch it. It felt as if she would be obliterated in the blink of an eye. Although Yao Yue's strength was formidable, after continuously casting top-tier immortal arts and undergoing tribulations, her own power had grown weaker. If things continued this way, the situation would likely spiral out of control. Xiao Yin, brother. Xun'er, desperate and anxious, watched as Xiao Yin was continuously ravaged and suppressed by the ice soul power deep within the core of the Ice Palace, her heart trembling. Don't go. That senior has already given him guidance. Now we must trust him. Little fairy doctor shook her head. Only she could clearly sense the immense destructive power hidden within the Ice Dimension. Clearly, this was a situation beyond their ability to handle. If that's the case, we must protect the remaining ones from being absorbed and converted into pure power to feed back to Yao Yue. Let's go. Grasping her hand, the two figures swooped down towards the poisoned servants encased in ice. Since they couldn't deal with the pressure of the top-tier immortal arts, they could only temporarily delay Yao Yue's tribulation. The icy divine power spread, and countless ice flowers, like shining stars, swept through the air. The endless power of extreme ice suppressed and annihilated the evil forces around. For those possessing the unique ice attributes, like Yao Yue, combined with the power of the Devourer mother insect, the arrival of top-tier immortal arts caused any force unrelated to cold ice within this ice dimension to be deemed evil, heretical, and completely eliminated. Especially the demonic power on Xiao Yan's demonized body was ruthlessly eroded by the icy divine power. Even someone as powerful as Xiao Yin was forced to endure this soul-piercing pain, his lips whispering low words, the voice of the shadow from earlier echoing repeatedly in his mind. The flesh began to be slowly corroded by the ice dimension. Ice strands covered Xiao Yan's body, and as his skin froze, it disappeared completely, revealing the terrifying white bones beneath, which looked grotesque. Meanwhile, the demonic bloodline flowing in his veins and the Xiao clan bloodline, both containing ancient, immense power, had never been seen before. The dark green demonic bloodline and the bright red Xiao clan bloodline erupted with dazzling energy, but within the ice dimension, no ripples were created and everything returned to calm. His face trembled, and the blood in his body churned. No matter how rebellious and proud the demonized Xiao Yan's spirit was, he could not resist the corrosion of the ice dimension. It was as if the destruction of the Poison God Palace could already be foreseen. No one could use top-tier immortal arts with their own power, and no human could resist the power of a top-tier immortal art with their own strength. This wasn't just a battle skill. It was more like a divine punishment, a cold tide of destruction. From his neck down, all of Xiao Yan's skin turned to ash, leaving only his white bones and the sinister demonic aura within his mind struggling to hold on. His soul quivered, and the demonic soul shadow behind him was enraged but helpless in the face of this attack. Compared to death, I want to live. After a long time, when demonized Xiao Yin gave up struggling and allowed the icy divine power to destroy him, the flame heart within his white bones was also frozen, losing all vitality. Even the last of Xiao Yan's life force began to disintegrate when suddenly, his heart beat again. Thump, thump, thump. The heart, almost on the brink of death, erupted with a powerful pulse. With each beat, the dark green blood surged through his bones and into his limbs, reaching his mind and soul. Along with this strange movement, a wave of demonic power surged once more. But this time, the force was countless times more terrifying than any previous demonization Xiao Yin had experienced. The dark green, strange flames began to emerge, burning on his bones, and his flesh slowly started to reappear. As his skin and flesh resurfaced, Xiao Yan's pupils, strength, and everything else underwent earth-shattering changes. His chest began to burn with dark green flames, like a glorious sun rising, radiating endless evil. The source of demons. Punch to the sky. The demonized Xiao Yin revived, his back shadowed by a dark green apparition that rivaled the divine throne. Slowly, it spread its arms, as though repeating the moves of that ancient figure from before. Dark green evil flames emerged, and Xiao Yin clenched his fist again, radiating endless dark green evil light. The waves of dark green energy rippled like a vast ocean, stirring the most intense storms, gathering into a dark green fist that roared toward the forbidden palace formed by the ice dimension in the sky. This punch was indescribable, filled with a power that ordinary beings could not understand. Was it demonic power? The Supreme Dominator's power?